All right, good evening, guys. Thank you for coming to Superstretch on Wednesday night. Hopefully you're having a great day and just a great evening. We'll get ready to come together. If you have any blocks or something to kind of lift yourself up on, we're going to be doing some moves towards the end that'll help you. So firm pillow, you can have somebody go get you a towel. You can roll up a towel if you want. The blocks are just nice and firm, so you don't have to fuss with them. Just a kind of specific size and angle, so it's not as difficult. Also, as a Bent on Fitness member, if you'd like to come and kind of check one out, you can, so that you can, or of course you can probably order them online as well. If you need some help finding them, I can help you. You can probably do a drop order to TJ Maxx or something like that. I don't know, but you can probably find one. So thank you again for coming. Let's start off with our feet leveled out. Take a look at those toes. I'm so glad I did some mobility before I did this. I went on a long bike ride today, and it was sitting. You know, it's just sitting for a long time, and it just feels good to lengthen and stretch and open the hips and so on. So anyway, let's start with our arms open. Keep your chest nice and extended. Take a big deep breath to fill the entire side wall of the body, the belly, the back. Exhaling. Let your chin drop into your chest. Let your arms open out wide again. Take your arms now, float them up a little bit wider, get long. Lift the chest, bring your palms into center. Inhale, circle your arms up and overhead now. Take your arms high and lower your arms back through. Let's do that about 3 times. Circle those arms up and over your head. Look up as it's comfortable and lower your head through. And again, circle those arms up and overhead and then lower through. Last time, circle your arms up and overhead, reach. Get long, pull the belly up. Bend the knees, dive forward, hands to the ground, head in, chin in, look back towards your knees. And just inhale big, exhale, and hang forward. Inhale, slide your hands up the front of your shins and slowly roll yourself up. Pick up your shoulders into your ears and then lower your shoulders away. Sometimes it's hard to notice if our shoulders are up because they're up so high we just don't notice. And so pull them up higher and then let them drop. Inhale, take them wide, take your arms wide, lift the chest. Exhale, palms to your center. Inhale, circle your arms up and overhead. Bend the knees and dive forward, hands to the ground, chin into your chest, look back between your knees. Inhale, slowly roll yourself all the way up. Once more, take your arms out wide to the T. Exhale, bring your palms to center. Breathing. Take another couple of breaths to just connect, settle, focus. Breathe. Keep yourself nice and settled, nice and calm. Breathing. Inhale, circle those arms all the way up and overhead. Exhale, dive forward, hands to the ground. Make your hands come all the way to the ground. Step back into the push-up position. Hold the top of the push-up. Breathing, feel the ground pressing down underneath your hands, underneath your toes. Drop your left knee to the ground. Rotate, take your right hand to the sky. Take your right arm overhead. Take your right arm back all the way around. Come back into plank and hold the top of the push-up again. Drop your right knee to the ground. Rotate your left heel down. Take your left hand to the sky. Take your left hand away from your left foot. Take your left arm all the way back into and come back into the plank again. Drop both knees to the ground and let's come into a child's pose. Sink back into your heels, arms stretched out, forehead to the mat as it's comfortable. Breathe to lengthen. Exhale. As you keep your your breath into your body so your mouth is closed. That heat will build deeper into the body. The heat will restore the body's movement. Breathing. If you need to take attention into a particular area, lower back, hip, knee, shoulder, wherever, focus in on that area. Then take your breath and deeply breathe, focusing in bringing the breath to a deeper space in the whole body. Breathing, inhale, exhale, separate the knees a little bit wider, see if you can sink in a little bit deeper, reach those arms out. Press into the palms. Keep your hips back. Your forearms are now off the ground. Open those fingers up. Look at your fingers. Walk your hands back underneath or towards your shoulders. Lift your chest. Shift forward into your hands. Come into an all fours position. And let's begin to round the back, chin towards your sternum, into the hunch. Inhale, lift the tailbone, lift the chest into the arch. Exhale, pull the navel into the body, round the back, chin to the sternum, press the ground away. Feel the shoulder blades, the scapula moving away from each other. Inhale, as you lift the tailbone, pull the sternum forward, lift the tailbone up. Exhale, pull the belly into the body, round the back, chin to the sternum, and continue. Inhale to lift. Exhale and tuck. Now find the end of that inhalation and exhalation. It's very easy to inhale and pause somewhere and forget to finish the inhalation. And then exhaling, begin to exhale, then begin to move, tucking the pelvis, rounding the rib cage, chin towards the sternum. Once more, lift the tailbone, lift the chest, lengthen. Exhale, sink your weight back to your heels, take both hands to the right side of your mat and sink back into your left hip. If you'd like, you can bring the head all the way to the ground, but then look at your hands and make sure your thumbs line up and pull back evenly between your hands. Sink your weight back into that left hip. Breathing, inhale and exhale. Inhale, look forward. Shift your weight into the diagonal and then walk your hands back to center. And just begin to wag your tails side to side. So bring your hips to your left rib wall, bring your hips to your right rib wall. And then walk your hands back to the right side of your mat and sink back into your hips again. So we just did the same side again. Breathe into the rib wall. Inhale, look forward, come forward up on the diagonal. Walk your hands back to center and just move the tailbone up and down. So we're back in the center, trying not to lift or round the middle back, the upper back, the head and chest. Just tuck the pelvis and lift the pelvis. Tuck the tailbone and lift the tailbone. Once more, lift the tailbone up, sink the hips back into the heels, and reach those arms out into a child's pose. Breathe to lengthen. Inhale, open. Exhale to release. Exhale to soften. Inhale, bring yourself all the way up. Nice and tall, nice and long. Inhale, lift the tailbone, lift the chest. Exhale, tuck the tailbone round, chin towards your sternum. Once again, lift the tailbone, lift the chest. Now walk both hands to the left side of your mat and sink into your right hip. look back at your thumbs and make sure your thumbs are lined up. And then sink again, finding that length coming up the right side wall of the rib cage. Big deep breath, inhale. Exhale, if it's comfortable, your head can come all the way to the ground. If not, keep your head elevated as it's comfortable. Sinking and lengthening back into that right heel. Inhale, come up on the diagonal, and then walk both hands back underneath the shoulders and just begin to wag the tail back and forth. So you're bringing your right hip to your right rib wall, left hip to your left rib wall. One more time, each side, and then pause. Inhale, lift the tailbone, lift the chest, walk the hands back on the diagonal, and once again sink back into your right heel. Big deep breath, fill the rib wall, lengthen as you sink back into your right heel. Head down as it's comfortable. And once again, look forward, bring yourself up, walk your hands back to center, and let's just lift the tailbone and tuck the tailbone. Again, you're not trying to move the rib cage, you're not rounding and bouncing. Lift the tailbone, tuck the tailbone, lift the tailbone. It's important that you do learn how to differentiate the upper part of the body, middle part of the body, and lower, so you know where your movement really is stuck or really over moves, or it's just kind of, everything just kind of moves together. One more time, lift the tailbone. Now lift the chest, sit your weight back into your heels, begin to lift the knees off the ground and come back to a first downward facing dog. Get long. Sink. Drop your right heel deeper into the ground. See if you can keep that heel down. Lift up on your toes. Drop your left heel deeper into the ground. Up onto your toes, right heel, up onto your toes, left heel. Now be aware if you're shifting your hips. So you're just sinking your heel, you're not really dropping into your hips. Breathing. 2 more. And last one, each leg. Good. Bend both knees, look forward, and begin to walk your feet up to your hands. Head down, chin in, and then slowly begin to roll yourself up. Good, inhale, take those arms high overhead, reach. Exhale and down. And again, circle those arms up and over your head, reach. And exhale down. Good, pausing again with your hands in your center. You can have your hands down by your lap if you want to. Your hands can be down by your side. It's just sometimes calming to bring your hands towards your center. It focuses everything more inward. You can feel your breath into your hands. You can feel the opening of your chest with your elbows close to your body. And I just want you to reconnect again. Connecting to the sounds around you. Connecting to the sound of your own breath. Breathing. Soften your ears, your jaw, just even the corners of your mouth. Inhale, circle those arms up and over your head, reach. Exhale, bring your hands through into the center. Body's nice and tall, chest is lifted, bend the knees, breathing, step left leg straight back, bring your shoulders right over your hips, breathing. Think about pulling that right hip back, take both arms high overhead, lengthen. Just pause here, we're going to hold here for a couple of breaths. Notice if your ribs are pulled, arched forward, can you draw them back? Can you slightly tuck your tailbone? Not round your back, just kind of tuck the tailbone slightly. Can you fully extend into the elbows? Can you open up the fingers? Can you breathe? Bring your hands back into your center, and then step forward, bringing both feet parallel to each other again. Inhale, take those arms up and overhead reach. Bend at the elbows, drop the hands in, and step back with your right foot. Again, line those hips up, so you might want to pull that right hip forward, the left hip back. Make sure that the weight is evenly balanced. You're not struggling to be there. And then reach those arms upward overhead. Again, different leg position causes different connections in the body. Do the arms want to pull back or forward? Can you move the pelvis just a little bit? How are those ribs doing? Elbows straightened, fingers extended. How about those toes? Lower the arms back down to your sides, back into center, and step forward. Inhale, take your arms up and overhead reach. Exhale, dive forward, hands to your ground. Step back into a push-up position. Hold. Lower yourself into the mat. Lift to cobra. Lower down. Curl the toes. Push to push-up. Hinge to the downward facing dog. Lengthen. Bend the knees, look forward, step or walk your feet up to your hands, head down, chin in, look back between the knees. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, hands through. Bend the knees, left leg steps back to the lunge. Find that center. Circle those arms up and overhead. Find those spaces. Breathing. Straighten up your right leg. Get tall, get long. And then dive forward. If you have blocks, you can always place your hands on those blocks. It's a nice way to settle the body, because when we have to reach, we press, we fear, we get out of position. Breathing. If you need to touch the ground, touch the ground. If it's not available for you on blocks, your fingertips can be on the ground, your back foot can be further forward. Whatever you need to find that space. Bend the front knees, step your back foot forward, head forward, chest forward, and sweep those arms up. Exhale, hands through. Inhale, bend the knees, step back with your right leg, straight back behind you. Again, try to find those spaces. Lost in space. Body nice and tall, chest is lifted, shoulders down. Breathe into the width of the rib cage. Notice if you're arching, can you find more of a neutral posture for you? Straighten out your front leg. Bend the front knee, take the arms up and overhead reach. Find what's open, what's connected, maybe what's kind of disconnected. Can you make some adjustments? Straighten up the front leg. Inhale, exhale, dive forward, hands to the ground or to your blocks. If you're using a blanket, your hands is just up off the ground a little bit further. You can even be doing this onto a chair. Breathing. Inhale, look forward and step your right foot underneath you. Exhale, fold, head down, chin in. Inhale, sweep yourself up. Take your arms up high, overhead reach. Exhale, lower yourself down. Breathing again. Inhale, take those arms high up and overhead. Exhale, dive forward, move the blocks if they're in the way. Step back to plank. Hold, lower yourself into the mat. Lift the chest to cobra. Exhale to lower. Curl the toes, push back into plank. Exhale to the downward facing dog. Now, definitely the downward facing dog can be a difficult posture because you're upside down. But the idea behind the downward facing dog is that it's lengthening. It's actually a restorative movement. For some, it's very calming because you're inverted. So let yourself settle. Bend your knees if you need to. Release your neck. Pull your shoulders wider to steady and stabilize your upper back. Breathe instead of holding your breath. Bend the knees again. Step or walk your feet up to your hands. Exhale, fold. Inhale, and sweep up. Exhale, hands through. Take your arms back down to your side. Just find that balance between the feet. Notice your body might feel more steady, more stable, the more we go through movement postures when we balance the right and left sides. So allow that to happen. Take some moments to notice what's going on, not just at you, but in you. Inhale, take your arms up and over your head, reach. Bend the knees, bend the elbows, bring the arms together. Slightly bend the knees, left leg steps back to the lunge. Breathing, take your arms high overhead, reach. Find those spaces, straighten out your front leg. Exhale, dive forward, bring your hands to the ground or the blocks. Sink that back heel as best you can. Breathing, let the head drop if it's there for you. Bring the head and chest up. Breathing. Switch the position of the left leg, the back leg, so the back foot is turned about 60 degrees because you're going to bring your arms up now to 90 overhead. Reach. So you're in more of a warrior one now. Get long. Feel that external rotation of that back hip. Breathing. Lengthen. Look up if it's comfortable. Straighten up that front leg again. We're going to hinge forward out of that back leg. And notice the difference. Your hips want to jump out. I want you to really pull that right hip back, which means you may have to shift your back heel. Breathing. You're going to get a different stretch up the back leg and up the front leg. Breathing. Bend the right knee again. Reach forward. Return to that warrior one and feel that length coming kind of diagonally across the back of the leg. So you're feeling in that left thigh, up deep into the adductors. Breathing. Again, straighten the right leg. Dive forward, hands come down to the blocks, or to the ground, or your shin, whatever you've got. Breathing, bend the right knee and step the left foot forward, head down, shin in. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, hands through, bend the knees. Step back with your right foot. Breathing, lengthen, circle those arms up, overhead reach. Find what you need to find, fix what you need to fix. Straighten that left leg up this time, hinge forward, bring your hands down. Breathing, sink and drop that right heel down to the ground. Bend the left knee this time again. Take both arms up and over your head. You're now in a warrior one again. Take those arms up, high overhead reach. Lengthen. Breathing, straighten up your left leg, dive forward, circle those arms around, bring your hands to the blocks, to the ground, wherever it works. Now, again, the left hip sometimes wants to poke out. Can you pull that left hip back? You're going to get a rotation in the outer right hip, inner probably right hip a little bit, upper part of the back of your right upper hindquarter. Kind of like in a car, this is your quarter panel right back here. Breathing, bend the left knee again, look forward, take those arms back up into a warrior one. Now, interesting enough, mythologically, the warrior one faces the front of the mat. The warrior one faces the issues, the problems. The warrior one opens up to it and finds where something is going wrong. It listens, it's open, it's connected. But sometimes we want to bury ourselves in. Can you open up a little bit deeper? A little bit longer. Circle the arms all the way around, back heel lifts, and step your back foot forward. Take both arms up and over your head. Exhale, dive forward, hands to the ground. Step back into the push-up position. Breathing. Exhale to the downward facing dog. Breathing. Sink back into plank. Get long. Drop the knees to the ground. And as you're ready, sink back into a child's pose. Exhale. Inhale. Walk your hands back underneath you. Hands underneath your shoulders. Lift the chin. Drop the chin. Lift the chin and drop the chin. All right, bring your head forward, eyes forward, and sweep your legs out and bring your legs in front of you. Good. If you've got your blocks, great. You're going to take those blocks or your rolled up towel or whatever you have, and you're going to place them underneath you because you're going to bring them, well, not quite yet, you're going to bring your hips on top. So lay back on your mat as best you can where you need to be. Let your head drop back. Let your chin come towards your sternum. And grab the blocks, that rolled up towel, a firm pillow, and then let's come into the blocks. Let your hips sit right on top of the blocks. And first we need to allow the body to become acquainted with this elevated position. So just let your hips sink. You're not tucked in. You're not arched. The rib cage is soft and down. Your eyes kind of looking towards your knees. Notice if your ribs are expelled or open, exposed, expelled, and then drop them. So let's gather them back. Chin towards your sternum. Exhaling, bringing your right knee and left knee up. So still your pelvis hasn't curled in. Your weight is still directly down into those blocks. Breathing, extend your right leg towards the sky and just roll from the hip, kind of a tick-tock, the right hip. So you're kind of turning your right big toe towards the midline and then towards the outside edge of the right shoulder, and then pause and bend the knee. Let's do the other side. Take the left leg up, straighten. Notice if you're wanting to curl, I want you to maintain a flat pelvis right on top of your roller or your blocks, whatever you have. And then again, turn, internal, external rotation at the top of that hip. Good, and pause. Drop your left heel to the ground or just to the hip and reach your right heel back to the sky. Breathing. Bring in your left knee towards your chest and lower your right leg down as best you can, all the way to the ground. Now, if taking your leg all the way to the ground is too far, bend your knee a little bit and then just kind of walk your foot forward to where the end point works better for you. It may be too much too soon to just take it down, so you may have to find some space to take it down a little bit at a time. So your right leg is now long, your right arm goes overhead, reach from your right heel to your right hand. So again, you're not trying to tuck your pelvis here too much. I want you to find that length at the top of the hip. Breathing, inhale and exhale. Soften. Lower your right arm. Keep that right leg out there. Slide your right foot flat to the ground. Just let it sit there for a second. And then gently bring your right knee into your chest. Hold your right knee with your right hand. Extend your left leg up and begin to take that left leg all the way to the ground. Reach through that left leg. Draw your right knee in and find that space as you then take your left arm overhead. Get long. Again, if you need to bend your right knee a little, or sorry, your left knee a little bit, do so. Get long. Left arm overhead, left leg reaches out, right knee pulls in. breath. Lower the left arm. Slide the foot in just so the foot is flat. Drop the right foot to meet the left. And just settle there for a second. Now, as you can, extend your right leg out and then extend your left leg out. Both arms out, or both legs out, both arms are going to go over your head. Reach in two directions. Gently and slowly bring your right foot and left foot back in. Lower your arms back down. Bring your right knee and left knee up. Slide your hands up the top of your knees so your fingers are just poking over the top of your knees, like your knees are sunrise, like your fingertips are rising over the horizon of your knees. Push both knees into your hands, both hands into your knees. Gently release again, right foot to the ground and left. And just for a second, then pick the hips up, lower the hips to the ground gently, release the blocks out from underneath you, and then just sit there on the mat just for a moment. Bring both knees back into the chest. Give both knees a little bit of a hug. Drop both feet to the floor again. So what I want you to do is, we've done this before in class, so it's a little bit easier when I'm kind of fussing with your legs a lot of times. So I want you to take your right foot to the far right corner of your mat. You're still up through the center. Then as you can, you're going to take your left foot and cross it over your right ankle. So you're going to use your right foot actually to pull your left leg over, and you're going to get a stretch up the outside of the left hip. So then take your left arm over your head and reach up and pull up with your right hand, and take your left wrist in your right hand and pull. So you're kind of creating a half moon shape. Breathing. Use your right foot to hook around that left foot. Use your right arm to pull that left arm overhead. Breathe into the rib wall. A couple more breaths. If you need to adjust your neck, get your chin closer to your sternum. Gently release both arms. Just bring your arms down by your side. Gently slide your left foot kind of up to your right knee, and then take your foot off. Slide your right knee back into the center line, and just settle there for a second. So those upper outer hips can get really gummed up. So that might have been a little bit challenging, just at least at the setup, to get the legs in the right spot. So let's do the other side. So I want you to take your left foot mostly to the far angle of that left side of your mat. Your right foot goes over, but you're using your left to hold your right foot into place. You should feel a stretch beginning at the top of your right hip. Taking your right arm over your head now, reach up and grab your right arm with your left hand, and then tilt your body slightly to the left side of the mat, creating a half moon shape. And then breathe into the right rib wall. Breathe and find length. Use that left leg to pull the right leg. And then gently release the arms, head center. Slide the right leg up to the left shin, and then bring both knees to set to level. I want you to drop your knees onto each other. This kind of internally rotates. Open the knees, drop the knees to the ground, let the hips open. Gently, slowly bring both knees up and back to center. Walk your feet towards your hips. Place your hip heels on the ground. Press in first and two. You're the back of your arms. Your fingertips point towards the sky. Lift your hips up and then walk your shoulders underneath your back. If you can, interlace both fingers or all fingers. Keep your chin into your sternum as best you can. More breaths. Sink into your shoulders. And then release the shoulders out. Drop the back to the ground. Breathing. Bring both knees into your chest. Take your arms wide, almost to a T. Drop both knees to your right. Make sure your right shoulder isn't kind of tucked underneath you. Make sure your left shoulder is resting into the ground. If you want to add, you hold your left knee with your right hand. Breathing into your left hip. And then gently and slowly roll back onto your back. Nice and easy. Reset that position on your back. Shift your hips slightly to the right. Bring your knees into your chest. Drop both knees to your left. Arms are wide to that, almost to that T. Make sure your left shoulder is not tucked underneath you. Using your left hand to help or aid your right leg across the midline of the body. Soften into that right quarter panel. Breathe. Again, gently, slowly, bring both knees back to center. Hips level. Extend both legs out. Get nice and long. If you want to take that block or your bolster or whatever you have, you can place them underneath and behind the back of your thighs, just behind your cheeks, and just let your thighs lay over the blocks, giving yourself a nice kind of a cradle back position. Inhale. Exhale. The ease of the reclining posture, the Shavasana, the corpse pose, the reclining mountain pose, is to restore the body with contact across each part of it. With contact to your heels and your calves, the back of your thighs, your glutes, your ribs, your shoulders, your head, your arms. And then allow the breath to gently move in and out, responding to each one of the spaces around those masses. The space of the neck, the small of the back of the knees, and the ankles. Settle, restore, connect. next breath, just begin to wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, deepen your breath. Gently, and as you're ready, slide your feet in. You can move the blocks or that bolster or blanket you have. Take one arm overhead and roll towards me or to your side. Calm, centered, connected. Using your top hand, gently bring yourself upright and then sit in a comfortable seated position. I'm going to sit on my blocks. You want to sit on the blanket that you brought out for yourself, you can, or your blocks, whichever works better. Arms out in front. Take a big deep breath. Exhale. Let your chin drop into your sternum. Bring your palms to your center. Let your thumbs touch your chin. Your index finger touch the center of your forehead. The jaws again soften. Ears drop in. Tongue comes off the roof of the mouth. Inhale. Bring your arms wide and overhead. Reach. Look up. Exhale and through. Reach wide, lengthen, lift, and lower. Once more, reach and lift. Be well, live well. Have a great night, guys. Enjoy your rest, drink plenty of water. Get something to eat, go for a walk right now. It's beautiful out, and I will see you hopefully Saturday for Superstretch. Have a great night.
Show's over.